Shedeur Sanders is officially back. These are his full game highlights versus Chicago Bears. He starts off in play action, throws a 14-yard dot in the air, ends up being a 24-yard gain on the play. Then Shedeur starts off in shotgun, shows off his patience, stays in the pocket, takes the hit, and delivers a bomb downfield. This ball flew 40 yards and ended up being a 40-yard play. Here's the replay. I don't know why his odds on Kalshi dropped to be the starter next year in Cleveland. I thought the kid played phenomenal. Like on this perfect toss right here, Cleveland picks up another 3 yards. And then he starts off in shotgun again, waits for the play to develop. Look at the patience, look at the footwork, look at his ability to dance in the pocket, turns nothing into something. It's another 5-yard gain here. More of the same right here. It's 3rd and 5. He's got to get this to manageable distance on 4th down. Does a great job of showing off patience again. Gets the ball to the sideline, makes it 4th and 1. The next drive, it's 2nd and 11. He drops this dime back to the line of scrimmage. Shedeur gets a massive 7-yard gain, and then here's Shedeur in the 4th quarter, does a perfect fake handoff, delivers another dime across the middle of the field. More positive yards for the Browns, and then people were trying to hate on this play. It's 3rd and long. Shedeur does a great job of throwing the ball deep here. This play is essentially the same as a punt. This turnover is not a big deal. If they would have punted the ball, it would have ended up in a similar situation. Solid play again by Shedeur.
Shedeur Sanders is his ability to have tunnel vision, because despite this offensive lineman getting tortured right here, Shedeur Sanders still able to focus inside the pocket, and he hits Luke Floria on an amazing post route. Great throw, great catch. Luke Floria, baby. Hungry dogs right there. They say Shedeur Sanders cannot throw the spiral. Let's take a look at that throw again. Look at the spiral, man. Look at that beautiful pass right there. And so first play, what we have is what we call an I formation, heavy defensive play.
This is the story of a rookie who refused to play it safe, and the throw that made the league stop and stare. Before this night, the conversation around Shedeur Sanders wasn't about talent, it was about pressure. Every rookie gets scrutinized, but Shedeur's scrutiny came wrapped in something heavier, a name people already had opinions about, a draft process people wouldn't stop talking about, and a locker room where he had to prove himself before he'd earned the benefit of the doubt. So when the lights came on for his very first preseason snap as a Cleveland Brown, this wasn't just a game, it was a test, a public one.
So we got to go ahead and break this down. This is the interception Shedeur Sanders threw. Just one, you just cannot do if you Shedeur Sanders. Trips formation, you got 1 receiver, 2 tight end, and then you have a receiver up top. I want to say 3 receivers at the bottom and then 1 tight end up top. You have a running back in the backfield. Shedeur Sanders going through his pre-snap cadence, and he just overthrew this pass. This is just one you can't do. We can't turn the ball over. I'm going to show you guys what it looked like from the backside, but it was a clear just overthrown. So next play we have Shedeur Sanders, as you guys can see, in the pocket right now.
And it didn't start clean. Early in the game, Shedeur dropped back on a trips formation. 3 receivers stacked to one side, a tight end split out, a running back set behind him. He worked through his cadence, found a window downfield, and overthrew it. Intercepted. For a lot of young quarterbacks, that's the kind of mistake that spirals, the kind that shows up in every headline the next morning, the kind that fans use to write the whole story before it's even begun. But Shedeur didn't blink. Because here's what most people watching at home didn't understand yet. That overthrow wasn't hesitation, it was the opposite. It was a quarterback who came to play aggressive, who came to test the deep parts of the field that most rookies are too scared to even look at. And 2 possessions later, he proved it. Pressure came from everywhere. An offensive lineman got beaten clean. The pocket started collapsing around him. Chaos closing in from both sides. This is the moment that breaks young quarterbacks. This is the moment where instinct takes over, and the ball comes out early, rushed, desperate. Shedeur didn't move. Eyes locked downfield, feet set, tunnel vision, and he delivered a strike on a post route that cut through the defense like it wasn't even there. A perfect spiral, a receiver in stride, a moment of complete, total calm inside a pocket that was falling apart around him. The crowd noise shifted. You could feel it. Because there's a narrative that had been following Shedeur since before he ever put on a Browns uniform, that he couldn't drive the ball downfield, that his arm strength wouldn't hold up at this level, that he was built for control, not for power. That throw didn't just complete a pass, it answered a question. And he wasn't done. On the very next series, Cleveland dialed up a play-action call out of a heavy formation. Fullback in the backfield, receivers spread to test the edges of the defense, the kind of play designed to sell the run first and open up something bigger behind it. Shedeur sold it perfectly.
Fullback right here, wide receiver, and a wide receiver right here. Shedeur Sanders does a very good job as far as the play-action play. So as you guys can see, he calls the play action, and he actually already know where he want to go with this football. Look at his eyes already going towards where he want to go with this football, man. This is an amazing throw. Great way to come back to the football. Gauge Larvidan, man. Move the sticks. All right, so as we take a look at Deshawn Watson, first half, he had 18 dropbacks. He was 11 of 15, 73%. He threw for 129 passing yards. He had 4 rushing yards. He was 98.2 passer rating. He was sacked once, which led to a fumble. He had 2.75 average time to throw, which is huge. The offensive line definitely blocked for him. And this is the most important part of the difference between him and Shedeur Sanders. His per attempt was 4.4. Now, Shedeur Sanders actually threw the ball a lot further downfield. Watson, as I showed you guys, 11 of 15, 126, 98.2. And Shedeur Sanders, 6 of 11, 79 yards, and 1 interception. He had a 39.6 passing rating. But Shedeur Sanders actually threw the ball downfield. That was the biggest difference. The reason why that rating is like that is because of the interception that I showed you guys earlier. But
before the safety had even reacted to the fake, Shedeur's eyes were already downfield. He knew exactly where this football was going before the defense did. That's not something you coach into a rookie in a few weeks of training camp. That's instinct. That's the kind of anticipation teams spend years trying to develop. He let it go, and it landed in stride, deep down the field, a receiver hauling it in and turning it into extra yards after the catch. A moving of the sticks, a statement throw. For a player who walked into this game under a microscope, that sequence changed the entire conversation. Now, here's where it gets complicated, because across the field, on the same night, in the same building, Deshawn Watson was doing something completely different and completely effective in his own way. Watson was efficient, sharp decision-making, quick reads, the ball out fast, complete after complete, moving the offense with rhythm and control. On paper, his numbers looked clean, strong completion percentage, a respectable passer rating, the kind of performance that doesn't make highlight reels, but wins football games. But here's the difference that actually mattered. Watson's completions were short. Efficient, yes, but conservative. Checkdowns, underneath routes, the kind of offense that takes what the defense gives you and doesn't ask for more. Shedeur asked for more. Every single one of his completions traveled deeper down the field. He wasn't playing it safe. He wasn't settling for the easy read. He was testing the deep third of the field against NFL-level defenders in his very first professional action. And more often than not, he was winning that test. Yes, the interception hurt his numbers. It dragged his passer rating down in a way that doesn't tell the full story. Because if you take that one mistake out of the equation, this was a rookie quarterback showing arm talent, showing anticipation, and showing something even more valuable, the willingness to take a risk when a lesser quarterback would have played it safe and disappeared into the stat sheet. That's the trait that either builds a franchise quarterback or breaks one.
Zoom meeting tomorrow, so I definitely will give you guys that update. Me personally, I think both quarterbacks did fairly well. One quarterback threw short passes, 4 yards here and there. No knock against Deshawn Watson. He took what the defense gave him. As far as Shedeur Sanders go, you guys know he's going to take chances, man. He's not going to sit back and just, let the game come to him. He's going to take risk, and that's just what it comes with. He very rarely turns the ball over. I mean, we saw the QB tracker as far as training camp, for crying out loud, but it happens. It's football at the end of the day. You guys get down in the comments and let me know, how do you guys feel if you watch this video or if you watch the actual game? What are your takes? How do you guys?
And right now, nobody in that building, not the coaches, not the front office, not the fans in the stands, knows for certain which direction this story is heading. What we do know is this: one preseason game doesn't define a career. It doesn't settle a quarterback competition. It doesn't silence the doubters completely. But it plants a seed. And after this game, the seed planted was undeniable. Shedeur Sanders has an arm that can change a football game in a single throw, the kind of arm that turns skeptics into believers, one deep ball at a time. Cleveland has been searching for stability at the quarterback position for years, searching for someone who can walk into a pressure cooker environment and not shrink from it, someone who throws a spiral people said he couldn't throw, someone who reads a defense before it even knows what's about to hit it. Whether that someone is Shedeur Sanders is still an unanswered question. But after one preseason night against the Chicago Bears, it's a question the entire league is suddenly a lot more interested in. Because the mistake will fade from memory, but that throw down the middle of the field, that perfect spiral cutting through chaos, that rookie standing tall in a collapsing pocket, that's the moment people are going to remember when they talk about how this story began. The competition isn't over. The doubt hasn't disappeared, but for the first time, Cleveland has a reason to believe. And if Shedeur Sanders keeps throwing like this, the whole league is going to have to start paying attention. Make sure you're subscribed, because this story is only getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next.